Trigun is an old series. Sorry, a classic series that ancient anime fans OG anime fans love with all their heart, as they fondly remember the great memories they had with the show while growing up. It can be nostalgic rewatching an anime that was brought to you in your childhood and stayed with you through it all. A remake of Trigun titled Trigun Stampede has been airing this winter season. With so many fans accumulated over the years, I would think that if handled with care and produced at a level with which Studio Orange, the people working on this project, have taken with their previous hit work, Beastars, then I think people will absolutely love this reboot. Holy mother. Hey, if you're watching this video, you're either genuinely interested in this anime and you want to hear your opinion reaffirmed, or you completely despise the remake and want to shoot me 20 times in the chest. And if you're somewhere in the middle ground, then again, I hope your opinion gets reaffirmed, or if this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, I'm sorry. Where should I start with a series that is an absolute classic and holds such legacy, where it feels like if I misstep, I'll have explosives mailed to my house? With an audience that loved the original, I'm not sure I can please every one of you, so I might as well come out swinging. I think Trigun Stampede is a great remake of the series. Hey! Can I reword my statement? I think Trigun Stampede is a good remake when you separate it from its source material and its predecessor. There are so many things that deviate from the original story that I can understand why a fan of the series might be disappointed going into this anime, with the thought that they're going to be getting a beautifully animated one-for-one reiteration, but they get something that shocks them, like they went from a sauna to an ice bath. Whether it's the subject matter of the story that you dislike, or the CGI that doesn't sit right with you, I'm going to be tackling all of that. I'll tell my take on the path they've chosen to take with the storytelling, and why I think the CGI from Studio Orange is simply so amazing. And just for this video, I've watched the entirety of the original 1998 anime, so if you tell me I have recency bias, you're not valid, because I love both versions of Trigun. To start off, let's begin with the easier of the topics, the CGI animation. I've seen people that have a distaste for CGI, and I know people who hate poorly done CGI. I know how it feels having so many iconic moments be ruined by the mediocre quality of a show. The only thing that I have to say to those who hate the animation is, it's a mindset issue. Let's take the first 3 episodes for example. Even the fight in the first episode alone was enough to get me to want to make a video on this series. With such a huge gap between the original anime and this version, Studio Orange was definitely able to prove that they could deliver a beautifully animated remake. And I don't even think it's up for debate whether or not the last fight was intense and awesome. From the moment the cluster bomb was fired and set to cause havoc on the entire town, to the shots that make it feel like you're on the desolate rock of a planet. I can't remember when I've been in a sandy place when it's windy, but I practically felt the grains assaulting my face. If we look at episode 2, you have the spin around angle of Vash running from a mob. No, not you. People are literally trying to capture Vash and shoot him down like a firing squad, and with all the little movements in animation, Studio Orange managed to capture the cartoonish nature of Vash's actions that the original anime depicted all of the time. If this doesn't make you appreciate their efforts on capturing the little aspects of Trigun, then I'm gonna assume you were blinded by a macro solar flare hitting your cornea. In the 3rd episode, you have the shot of Knives climbing up the stairs to the plant. The atmosphere creates an ominous presence for our main villain. With the early introduction of the backstory to Vash and Knives, which I will discuss later, it really establishes the tone that Knives embraces and it helps characterize him. Overall, I think it's these parts and more that put into perspective how diligently Studio Orange has been working on this remake. It's not only the character facial expressions and their dynamic movement, but the effects throughout the entire frame that brings you into this world. Fuck SAO with its full dive. This is the real shit. Available on your monitor, TV, or smartphone. In this iteration of Trigun, I think I understand better how vast and lonesome this planet is, where oceans of sand separate every civilization. I think that's about as much as I can say for the animation. If I didn't convince you, I'm still banking on that solar flare. Anyways, I want to get on to the main point of discussion when it comes to Trigun Stampede. This is a whole web that we need to untangle, where I need to address every what if, because if I don't, someone's going to rig an IED under my bed and inside my toilet. I want to get one thing straight. Through watching all of the episodes that are out right now, I'm sure the OG fans can decipher the blatant fact that this doesn't follow the same plot as the 1998 Trigun. Crucial backstory and different plot important characters tell us that in this version of Trigun, Trigun. The directors and writers want to tell their own take using the IP of Trigun, which is where a lot of the hate stems from. Nothing about Wolfwood is the same other than the fact that he's cool, and this will upset genuine fans who are expecting the series to keep essential details intact. It can be a shock to those people. I wouldn't be surprised if some fans started foaming at the mouth once they started to explain his backstory, that is if they are even still watching the anime at that point. They took out Millie, who I have seen someone personally pop off about her replacement, and taking out someone that was such a prominent character in the anime will again be a huge shock to people. It's like an old memory of mine when I used to eat all my cereal out of bowls with the built-in straws. Next thing you know, they're replaced by these shits. As a child, I could not have been more upset. I thought it was blasphemy. Anyways, there's tons of details like this that were changed from the original Trigun to Stampede. In all honesty, it'd be easier to count their similarities than to count all their differences. People are comparing these two versions with every new episode that comes out, and I'm going to say it. I think if you compare both of the series, then you are a type of anime fan that can't sleep without their stuffed animals at night. Oh, and also I can't agree with you ever. For example, if I handed you a box of cosmic brownies and told you to eat them, you'd probably eat the shit out of them. They're good, they're chocolatey, they're nostalgic. They bring back a core memory that you had locked away inside your brain. But if I give you whatever brand they have now, you'd probably enjoy the cosmic brownies more. You might compare it to cosmic brownies and not understand why people would ever like the new ones. Here lies the core issue. We're comparing the two. You know, the second brownie, probably not that bad. It's different in flavor and in ratio of chocolate to brownie, but it's different and that's all it is. They're separate entities to each other than the fact that they're both foods. If you ask me, it's a matter of preference. I think this principle can be applied to the different interpretations of Trigun. You can like one, you can like the other, but if you only think one of them is good, I don't think you should be comparing them. Go take a pilgrimage up the Appalachians or have a vacation in Hawaii. I'll wait for you, and then come back to this subject. View both series as separate entities from each other. Think of genuine reasons why plot points may be good or bad, and don't only have the reason of one is better than the other. But if you like both, compare them all you want. That's not what I'm arguing against. I think it minimizes lots of details when talking about different aspects of the show. Argue what you want about the pacing, the possibilities of the backstories being valid, I couldn't care less. Just let there be actual discourse discussing what you enjoy and dislike from the show, instead of simply being like the original Trigun is better. I won't say it ticks me off, but it's saddening in a sense. Woo! I'm glad I got that out of the way. Now I can talk about why I actually think Stampede's material is exciting. Yeah, I don't know why it took this long to get here. Anyways, I think Stampede is doing a great job in creating their own retelling of the series. Like I mentioned, it's easier to count the similarities, so let's do that first. Studio Orange was able to preserve two key traits of the show and Vash as a character, and those are his choice to not kill, and his choice to always look for the best way out, even if it doesn't look like there is one. These coincide with each other, and it's a significant part of Vash's character development, having to battle with these morals he set for himself up until now. If they took this out, then it'd be interesting to see what type of person Vash would be, so OG fans have to be happy about that one. What with all the changes, the whiplash might have been too great. They could have gotten brain damage. Who knows? Maybe it would have made them make a Reddit post. I think the studio did a good job in keeping these values intact, but Vash didn't entirely stay the same. Well, as far as we can tell. He's definitely a very comedic, very expressive guy who likes to make jokes at the appropriate times, but in this iteration of Trigun, Vash and the entire show as a whole took a more serious approach to the subject matter. It doesn't have the half a season stalling prologue that the original anime had in it. There's no time to goof off and play around, and instead we dive straight into the meat of the material. If you're angry about this, you're probably like those Chainsaw Man fans who petitioned for a change of direction in future seasons of the anime, and I'm not gonna lie bro, kinda cringe. I'd say that Trigun Stampede definitely takes after Chainsaw Man when it goes for a more serious cinematic approach compared to the more laid back and goofy 1998 anime. In my opinion, it does better for someone who's focused on figuring out what the hell is going on, because I'm not gonna lie, if it wasn't for this video, I wouldn't have been able to get through most of the first half of the original Trigun. It's weird, right? I found the first half of the series funny, but not funny enough to warrant a blind viewing, not knowing when the end of the continuous empty episodes was coming. Imagine you're in a sushi conveyor belt restaurant. You're excited for all the hype surrounding this place, so you go ahead and order your first piece of sushi. A plate appears, but nothing is on there. You try to figure out what might have happened, but boil it all down to something malfunctioning and decide to go again. Do this about 14 times, and you basically get what I went through watching the original Trigun. And I still think highly of the show, so thank goodness there was was enough of a payoff that I was aware of because I felt satisfied with the ending of the original one. The new backstories to some of the characters and certain people having actual presence in the plot is definitely interesting. I don't know what to think of it yet, but all the endings of each episode leaves me excited for the next. Stampede adds a sort of suspense that the original didn't have, and I think I'd have to give it to the story being more engaging than the original anime. With the cliffhangers that they left us on, I literally needed to hold on for dear life. They introduced some aspects of the show that were sort of just dropped on us in the original in a way that was smoothly transitioned into. It gave us the backstory of people when we needed it to understand the plot, but it still gave me enough slack to grab onto when giving teasers for what's to come. If I had to say one thing about the anime that I dislike, it has to be the fact that I am not super attached to this version of Ash. I'm still interested in how he's going to resolve his dispute with Knives at the end, but for the journey along the way, it's either because we haven't gotten to the pivotal moment of the anime, or simply because it didn't have 14 episodes of festivities before the serious stuff. I don't blame the show for that. It's tough to do something like that, and it still did it well enough for me to be invested in this new version of Trigun. Aside from that, I think the show did well if you were to compare it to the 1998 version, and keeping the essentials in order for the story to remain in the area of precedence but forge its own path as well. They keep all the important story beats of the show, and even add on reasons why you might sympathize with a certain character more than you did in the past. Knives seems the slightest bit more human in Stampede, and Wolfwood is actually a more freakish being than the original, which you know, can be good or bad, but overall, it's just different. Even if the shows are different, I still appreciate their new take on the series. I mainly wanted to make this video talking about how comparing the two irks me, and why I think they should be treated as separate entities. Now that I've had my spout run dry, I'm gonna leave it to you. Whether or not you're stuck in the past from here on out is up to you, and if you're completely new to the series, give it a shot, both of them. They're amazing in their own ways, and I think, if Stampede makes a comparable ending with the level of animation we have now, then we are in for a ride. That'll be all from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. If you want to be part of the community, join the Discord. If you want more of "he just like me for real" moments, check out my Twitter. Again, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.